Okay. Let's do one last part. I'm gonna. This isn't getting published till Wednesday. It's gonna take me Tuesday afternoon to cut this up because we're not anywhere near on time marks or anything. It's like I'm not even sure I'm on the right things. I know the last few parts are, but there's like a few parts in the middle there that may be like 12-minute parts, and I don't know how I'm gonna cut those up. Okay. It's. I don't know if y'all want to talk any about the IT stuff and so on, but before Leo goes into his little rant, Leo has a surprise for us. He came up with an interesting theory before you joined us, before we actually started the show. But quick thoughts on the rumor that will not die, which is that Verizon's getting the iPhone. Which is actually indirectly related to your theory.
It's wishful thinking.
You know, this seems to come around and around and around and around.
I've heard this rumor. This has been over and over again.
You know, I get, you know, it's the most credible it's ever been. It's only because AT&T has screwed up mobile data. But yeah, it's a rumor. It's the fact that Verizon CEO is. Well, I find it interesting that Verizon CEO isn't denying it. That's the only thing that's weird here. It's like they're neither confirming or denying. You think they'd stand up and deny because people who switch to Verizon expecting iPhones in January are not going to be happy, peppy customers.
Well, what do you think, just as a question to you guys, what do you think will happen to Android and the iPhone if the iPhone, and just let's forget about Android, let's forget about Verizon, just the iPhone is now on every carrier? What do you think will happen to Android and the iPhone? That situation.
In that situation, I think Android will grow slower, but I don't think it'll go away. If only because of the fact, and this is okay. At some point this week, I'm going to be doing a video on this. Supposedly, the person who's going to be doing, who our Apple person, they can't do stuff when we're doing it, but they supposedly want to do a video this week around 11 or midnight at night, and I'm game if they are. I'd rather be doing that with them. But because of the sheer number of things that Android does that even now iPhone doesn't, I don't see educated users moving away from Android. And one of the best things Android has going for it is when grandma comes to their little nephew Geek and goes, "What do you recommend I buy?" Which one is little nephew Geek going to say? They going to say, "Grandma buy the Android" or "Grandma buy the iPhone"? Keep in mind,
I told Grandma to buy the Nexus One.
so yeah, it's.
So, Leo, what do you think about that situation? What would happen?
You may see a couple of people being a little more permissive about iPhone or whatever, but the architecture and design of both, and the culture of both, I think, will still keep Android in the market. It's kind of too big to go away right now.
Do you think that would make it the war for mobile be only iPhone and Android, and that the other?
I think who would get hurt most in that would be BlackBerry.
Mm-hmm.
BlackBerry would get really hurt. Microsoft has moved largely out of the game. WebOS would depend on how HP handles it. But yeah.
So you think it could possibly make it a platform market in the mobile area?
Instead of 3 or 4, yeah, it could do that.
All right.
Okay, you've got roughly 5 minutes to equate your little sick little theory.
Oh, great.
If you dare.
Well, first off, I want to say before I go into this that I am not definitively saying anything. I just noticed a couple of interesting little coincidences. And if any of you out there haven't read your Bible, Revelations chapter 13 is the one where it talks about the beast. And the first thing that I noticed about the beast that it describes is that in verse 2 it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard." Where have we heard that animal before? We take
See where he's going.
into consideration also verse 1, it describes the beast as having 10 horns and 10 crowns. Now, what else do we know about a certain Mac product having to do with the number 10? These are coincidences, and we also know that it got to a position with this beast where people couldn't buy or sell things without the mark of the beast with them. So, I'm not saying anything. I just wonder how come Steve Jobs doesn't address the idea that he is the Antichrist.
Apple fanboys, right care of Leo is. We're not condoning our son, and like I said, this is Leo's theory here.
We're just asking why.
It's sick to say the least. You know, yeah, we're not biased at all here. We're not.
Man, we need a Mac guy to balance this out so bad.
Yeah, you know, to the Mac guy, whose name I have not named, if you're still game to do a show this evening and you want to correct this particular son, I promise I will not be that biased. Anyways. Okay, I think we're out of stuff for this week in this ridiculously long show in which we spent 3 parts talking about browsers. So, I guess peace out all. I think I need to put a disclaimer on this episode. Yes, beware the beast! Warning may contain religious rhetoric, yada yada. So it's like, it's like.
Well, it was a joke, and I kind of mimicked Gilbert Gottfried's style of how he did the Bob Saget roast.
Well, yeah, no, and what's sick about it is, oh shoot, I need to stop the recording.